Hi, everyone, and welcome to Trades of the Week with myself and no other than Keith Sullivan. And today we're going to speak about what happens in a bear market, and is it true that the most millionaires are being made in a bear market? We're also going to be speaking about what is happening with inflation. And there's so many people currently that are suffering so much from inflation and what that's doing to their personal finances. And in today's episode, we're going to discuss what you can do if you are struggling with finances and how you can get started. So without any further ado, let's dive into it. All right, so what is happening with our buffaloes? That is the first thing that we need to take a look at. So with Airbnb, we have now lowered the stop loss to a 3% profit. And I think now we can actually lower it a little bit more, down to a 4% profit. So I'm doing that now live. So here for you as well. So if you're in it, lower it to 4%. So we're locking in those 4% profits. And then the same happening with Pfizer. Pfizer is moving up. So we're putting the stop loss here just around break even. So as you can see here for these two first one, even though the markets have been falling, even though it's going up, down, sideways, whatever it's going, it doesn't matter for us, because with our strategies, we can make money no matter if we are in a bear market or bull market. So that's really important. So if you are suffering, right, with your finances personally, the best thing you can do is to learn how to trade and invest. And it doesn't need to be expensive. It doesn't need to be hard. We love to keep things really simple, as you hopefully can see here. We draw some lines, and then it's all about the probabilities. One thing that is more likely to happen over another. So what we can offer you now is really to join the I Am Insider, to start your journey, to start combat inflation and take control of your finances. So what I would propose you do is to sign up. Just press become an insider. It's totally free. You go to investment-master.com/insider. It's probably here somewhere in the video or below the video even. And in there you will get all Marx's 3 books, one about cryptos, one about stocks, and the most important thing, which is crucial, about mindset. Also videos, quick start courses for how you get started with cryptos and with stocks, and really new exclusive content that is getting to you every single week that is being updated. So do make sure you join it. I promise you, you will not regret it. And not only that, you will also be part of a growing community. This is absolutely the best way to really combat inflation and take control of your finances. So that being said, now let's move on with these here. So then we have SNCY as well. And you can see, right, even though the markets have been falling, we still made money. So we made 1.5% on SNCY, Sun Country Airlines Holdings. So I think that's worth a move. Keith, are you ready? Have you been practicing?
Been practicing, buddy.
All right. Move. Very nice, very nice. And then I think it was 1 week ago or so, we entered Berry Corporation, BRY. Currently have shot up, right, straight away. So we now have locked in a 0.5% profit on this one because we got a really aggressive candle there. Just really break even plus the fees and a little bit more. So 0.5% profit on that. And then we had a loss as well. This week we had a 1% loss on Tyson Foods. I'd say boo. Not a moo, but a boo. And it took us in peekaboo and then shoo, all the way out again, and took us with our pants down. Is that what you say? I think that could be a saying. And then before we go into new ones, we had an order on HVT that just continued up. So that's no trade. But if you were in, you would be a little bit in profit now, of course. But we are canceling our trade because it went up and went above the intended stop loss after we placed the order. So we canceled this. And before we get into the new ones, Keith, what is happening in the market and what should we be looking out for?
Perfect. So one of the biggest questions we're seeing in the market now is, are the bears here? Are we in a bearish move? And if you look back on last week's episode, we spoke about potentially where the market has to break to be considered as a bearish cycle. So if we look at the news, there's been a couple of bits of news, but first thing that I want to look at is the overall market. And the overall market is currently in extreme fear still. And that is, once again, because inflation, also the increase in interest rates. We are seeing earnings periods which haven't been too great. And I'll quickly go into that. And we're still seeing that the war in regards to Ukraine and the in Russia. So now, in regards to the overall market, the Dow Jones on Wednesday last week saw the biggest drop it has seen in a day since 2020. So if we have a look at the Dow Jones, we saw on Wednesday one of the biggest moves. And once again, could this be because of what's happening in inflation, happening in the rest of the world? Not really. The main thing that's come out of this was all about Target's earnings. And Target didn't really make great earnings or what they expected to. And their main reasoning for that was the cost of delivering the goods is too high, okay? And not many people are spending. So their margins have actually decreased. And that kind of exacerbated this kind of bearish move and a bit more fear in the market. And it doesn't help that previous week, Walmart also said the same thing when their earnings come out. So it is looking like corporations may have to increase pricing of their goods to cover their margins or cover any losses that they're having. And that could be a negative impact in regards to spending in the economy. Now, actually moving on to spending, we are seeing a near enough 1% increase from the previous month in retail spending. And that is showing a resilience in regards to the US economy, that people are still willing to spend in the US, even though inflation is at the highest it's been for a long time. Okay, it's around 8.8%. So people are still willing to spend. Remember, inflation causes an increase in price for goods and services. So it's costing us more to buy food. It's costing us more to buy phones, to get petrol. And we can actually see that in the UK as well, where inflation is around 9%. Now, I know Dennis at the beginning said, do we want to know how we can hedge against inflation and what's happening in the economy? And one simple reason to do this is all about investing and trading. Okay, investing and trading can be recession-proof, meaning if the overall economy goes into recession, you can still make somewhat money when it comes to investing and trading. And this is why we are really pushing the IM Insider if you are complete beginners, because what is your money doing in the bank? It's not making you any money, or it might actually be losing you money, because in some countries, you actually have to pay to keep your money in the bank. Whereas if you're investing and trading, yes, your portfolios might be down right now, but in the longer run, you're going to be compounding your money. And that's the eighth wonder of the world, is compounding. How we can take profits, reinvest, and start growing our account year on year. So I would strongly look at the IM Insider, link below, completely free, and really get onto track with investing and trading, just because it is a hedge against what's happening in the modern world outside. And the last thing that we've got is, and this is a cheer for all the Buffalo traders, we are coming to the end of earnings season. 90% of the US 500 have had their earnings, and we are finally coming to an end. So we don't have to watch out for earnings, well, for a couple of months now, but just keep an eye on earnings. If you are looking at trading some retail stocks, there's still earnings coming up. One of the biggest companies with earnings right now is going to be Zoom. So that could be a new investment. If earnings are negative, Zoom might drop a bit more. So just keep your finger on the pulse. And you could do that by being with us here at Trades of the Week. But that's the overall market. We are still fearful. We're still seeing a exacerbation down in regards to its bearish move. Dennis, anything else to add?
No, the only thing is that when the market is this fearful, as Keith just went through, as a contrarian, usually the case that when it's really this low, everyone's fearful, it goes in the other direction. And the opposite is true as well. When it's really greedy, then it's time to take some profits off the table, because the probabilities are it's going to cool down a bit. So currently, the probabilities are that it's going to have a rally at some point. And speaking about that, we're adding 2 positions to our portfolio here, and we're placing an order on AMCX. So that's AMC Networks Inc. So it looks like it's going to turn. It's at a solid resistance level. And the same is true for THG. So THG, we placed an order yesterday, and of course it's Tuesday. So today it's a bit random that we do this on Tuesdays, right? Just because the candles don't know Tuesdays. But it's around the entry point, so do your research on these 2, but these are the 2 ones we are looking at to enter currently. So looking very interesting. So from that, moving on to cryptos. Now, cryptos are a bit boring. For the last really last 10 days, it just moved sideways. That's Bitcoin. And we all know, we spoke about it for the last couple of weeks, the Luna situation. I'm going to give you an update on that as well. But before that, I think we're still trading within this range here. So we're still trading within this. It's triggered the range. And it even broke all the way down here. And there's a couple of points I want to share with you today on that. So the Bitcoin price went down to $25,540. So it depends on what exchanges you're looking at. On some, it went down to 26,000 and some 25,000. But that might well be the bottom. And I'm going to share with you why we believe some of the reasons. It could, of course, go lower. And we're using our CCA strategy to make sure we enter all the way down. But looking at this, currently around the support level, and we've actually had now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 downward trending weeks. We're inside the 8th at the moment, and this is actually the longest in many years, longest negative period basically ever for cryptos and for Bitcoin. And we said in the beginning, the most millionaires are actually being made in the bear market. And why do I say that? Because looking back at 2017, if you were investing, most people invest maybe once, maybe twice, but then they give up, right? They invest maybe down to a 30% drop. But if you would have invested all the way down to an 84% drop, you would have had a great average price. And when it then went up, you would have made over 1,000% on Bitcoin instead of just making maybe 200 or 300%. So it will really be a huge difference if you just keep investing all the way down. That is super important. So we're very excited about the market, because the more it goes down, the bigger our positions become, the more money we are invested with. And then when it turns, we're going to make even more money. And the one thing I want to share with you is this. This is the Bitcoin longs on Bitfinex, one of the biggest exchanges. And this shows you, and I'm going to show you the correlation here. So looking at Bitcoin and the longs, what the longs means is that investors and traders, they are betting that the market will go up in the coming weeks or months. So you don't really know the date, depending on when they bought the contracts. But what you can see here is when the contracts have been going down, when more people are selling rather than buying, then the price of Bitcoin has actually also gone down. And then you see when then they started to buy the contracts, so they bought more and more. That was actually in the period when Bitcoin went down. So then people are, of course, selling when the price starts to go up. So then as price started to rise, we saw that the number of long contracts, people buying, went down again. So now when the price has been falling, you can guess what people have been doing. And now we have the number of people that think the price will turn eventually is at an all-time high. So that's one of the piece of news that are really bullish for the markets, I believe. So let's see what happens. So that's number one. Number two is also the Fear and Greed Index. It's at 12. And if we look at the Fear and Greed Index over time, it's really, this is as low as it goes before it then turns. Can it go lower? Of course, everything is possible. But I think it's very probable that we are starting to see the lowest points in the market. And the last point that I find interesting is the Bitcoin futures. And what you will see here is always, not always, but most of the times when we get a gap in the market. So back here, we had a small gap. They always get filled at a point in the future before the price then goes higher. Currently, we have a gap here. So it has not been filled entirely, very close. So we might maybe have another push down to 24,000 if this were to be true as well. But as we always say, follow the strategies as the price goes lower. And the last thing I want to share with you here is that China, they introduced a ban of cryptos. They threw out all of the miners. You might remember that from May last year. But now, with their new data shows that a lot of miners, I think it's between 40 and 50% of all the miners for Bitcoin, they are actually now in China. So maybe they switched around. Maybe it's the government. I'm not sure. But the miners are back in China. and in the space is just developing all the time. All right, so stay in there. The most money are being made in the bear market when prices are really falling down. And we're looking at the weekly chart at the moment, but Solana is one of those opportunities where we're now down 80%. And Solana is such a great project. So we believe that there's so many good buying opportunities at the moment. And you see, right, this is why it's so important. We have taken profits all the way up. So it doesn't matter if it goes down because we have taken profits all the way up. As you might have remembered, we took profits all the way up to 750% profit. So now we're just reinvesting basically as it goes down. And we're just going to rinse and repeat this all the time. And we've been adding some new entries. Cello, we have been adding the 80% entry at the moment. The same with Atom, now down 75%. So we're adding that. Oh, hello. We're adding that as an entry as well. And the same with GRT, we're adding another entry there at minus 75%. A lot of these are down so much, right? Great time to start averaging into these. But now is when most people give up, right? Most people don't do this. Most people give up, but not us, right? We are investing all the way down because that's our strategy. So that's really cryptos. Matic is the next one, also down a lot. Amazing project as well, and down whooping 78% at the moment, which is insane that it's fallen that much. But that's the market we're in. It's very volatile. So before we then now jump into the VCAs, Keith, anything to add?
So in regards to crypto, no, I think you're hitting a nail on the head there, Dennis. We could be seeing a bit more of a bearish move down, okay? Because if you think of it this way, where do people want to buy? If I'm a big player, if I'm an institution, would I want to be buying at 60,000 or would I want to be buying at 26,000? I'm thinking more 26. And this is how the wealthy players really look at it. They wait for that opportunity. They are patient. Remember, money moves from the impatient to patient. They wait for a price. They wait for a drop because it's market cycles. And then they buy and the market pushes up. So I think overall Bitcoin, and we could be seeing a push in the overall market, but it's all about just being diversified and being liquid enough. If you are new to crypto, don't go into 150 different projects because you might not be liquid enough to buy as that market falls. So also limit the amount of investments, find the good investment opportunities, the good companies like your Matics, like your Bitcoin, like your Ethereums, like your Solana, and make sure you can follow the strategy and purchase as that goes down. Because yes, it's painful right now that people's portfolios are lower, but the returns that we get in 6 months, 12 months is all about the work we put in now. Okay, so the more work we put in to bring our average cost down, the bigger the returns we're going to get over the next 6, 12 months. Okay, so this is the time. And that's all I've really got to say there, Dennis. I think it's just a great opportunity. And I've definitely been loading up with a lot more of the cryptos.
Ooh, exciting, Keith. Which is the one that's going to make us all millionaires?
You put me on the spot there now. And I do, once again, I know I'm going to go across the XRP because I think it's a great payment system. Dennis is smiling because he knows that I love XRP. But I think there's some great projects out there, especially layer ones like your Solanas. Okay, because they're improving the challenges that Ethereum's having. They are speeding up the blockchain. But one big area as well that I'll leave you with is I've been looking at interoperability. So projects that allow blockchains to talk to each other and share data. That could be another massive area for me personally with the research I've done.
Awesome. I totally agree with you. That is awesome. And moving on now to VCAs, and you heard it from Keith, you keep him accountable to this. So, but now when we look at VCAs as well, what you will see here is we are adding 2 of the positions. The market has really been moving sideways quite a bit, but Micron Technology, MU, minus 30% at the moment. So we're adding a second entry there. The same with Steve Madden. SHOO is the ticker, SHOO, minus 30% as well. And the last but by no means least, we're adding Coinbase today as well. Coinbase is a company that, and we're looking at the weekly charts in case you're wondering, just to get a bit better overview here. And so every candle is 1 week. But what you will be able to see here is that Coinbase is now down 68%, and they have billions and billions and billions in the bank. But obviously, since the crypto market has been going down, they've been heavily affected as well. So I think Coinbase is a great one. They have had great earnings, and as soon as the crypto market turns, I think it's going to be a really good investment. So you can have this in your ISA, you can have it in your SIPs, whatever you are in the world, depending on the tax situation. There might be some tax benefits in investing in stocks over cryptos. So do that research, of course. But Coinbase, we believe, is a great company to be investing into. So with that being said, everyone, we really hope you enjoyed Trades of the Week this week. And we just want to be looking at the results real quick as well. So we had a 1% loss. That was a boo, but also we locked in 1.5% profit. So overall, up 0.5% on Buffalo with a lot more profits locked in, which is great. At VCA, nothing new there. We hope we'll get a rally this week as well, or next maybe. So we have averaged in, we have good average prices, and we're ready for a turnaround in the market. And the same with cryptocurrency results. So the CCA, remember we had a loss on Luna last week, 100% loss on that. And then we had small caps, etc., etc. So that being said, everyone, we really hope you enjoyed this session today. And don't forget, right, to protect yourself from inflation, make sure you join the IM Insider, which is completely free to give you exclusive content that will teach you everything you need to know to start investing and trading. So also, if you enjoy these videos, press the like button and also the subscribe buttons and the alarm bell to get the notifications that we on a weekly basis keep you up to date what's happening in the market, what we're doing, and what we're trading and investing into. So from myself, the whole team, and Keith with the amazing haircut, we see you in the next Trades of the Week.